right, it looks like we've got everybody that is scheduled to join us, ready to join us. I'll let people in should they start trickling in. Thank you very much for making some time here, Coach, and to our media constituents here in Wagon Wheel Week. So obviously that is going to be the big topic at hand. But Coach, obviously some shuffling of the deck there for you with on the coaching staff. Just wanted you to address that at the top before we wrap up Central Michigan and focus on the Zips.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. Obviously, some movement took place since the last time we gathered and everything. I want to take the time to thank Coach Kaufman and his family for the discipline and dedication and sacrifices that they all made, to the time that we had together here. We've made a decision to go in a different direction and promoted Coach CJ Cox to the leadership role on that side of the ball, and looking forward to the week of preparation. Obviously, a critically important week, playing for our wheel, which is enough said by itself, but it's also for bowl eligibility, and it's also to, keep control and to stay pace, so that everything comes down to that last week of the regular season. But, excited for CJ, excited for the defensive staff, and have tremendous pride and tremendous belief in that this was the right time and the right thing to do so that we can go forward and accomplish our goals.
Thank you, Coach. Just quick wrap of Central last Wednesday when you guys have kind of looked at the tape, kind of clearing that and preparing for this week. Just what kind of jumped out at you as things to improve upon and things you did well?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that jumped off the tape that we need to get better at is being more fundamentally sound, right? I mean, it comes down to blocking, tackling, and taking care of the football. We didn't do any of those things exceptionally well. We also need to be better on special teams and flipping the field so that we're playing more complementary football in all three phases and protecting one another. We had some big moments where we did some decent things, generated some big plays. We started fast. However, the lack of consistency is not to our standard, and so we need to get better at that as we move forward for a very dangerous school down the road team.
All right, well, let's open it up to questions regarding this last Wednesday's game before we flip attention to the wheel. Let's start with Alan Mall from the Record Courier.
Yeah, Coach, just, real quick, going back to the decision you made with staff, just why did you feel that the time was, the timing was right now that you needed to make this move?
I believe with the defensive staff that we have in place and the defensive talent that we have in place, after kind of weighing everything, that there's great potential in that group to be better going forward. And I felt a change in leadership would make that happen.
Why did you, obviously you could have picked some guys to promote. Why does Coach Cox, the guy that you chose?
Detail-oriented, great relationship with the guys, and I think it's the type of personality that our team needs on that side of the ball in this moment.
What are you looking to see maybe that you haven't seen yet, specifically this week in preparation and then on Saturday in that game defensively?
I kind of in all three phases, not just defensively, just a greater focus on the fundamentals and doing that at a higher level consistently for 4 quarters. That if we do those things like we've talked all about, we're good enough in all 3 phases to accomplish everything that we need to get done this week. So, playing consistently good, playing fundamentally sound, and eliminating bad football from tape.
Last one on the move, just, how did the kids react to the move?
They've been good. We had an extra day of preparation yesterday. I thought the energy was good. The enthusiasm was right. I mean, whether that was the move or it's Wagon Wheel Week, whatever the case might be, the kids have been good. Kids are resilient, and they're continuing to go forward.
All right, just talk about, what it's been like. You had this second mini bye, and where you're at right now as far as preparation goes. Obviously, it's on to the game now, but just kind of talk about what you've done, and lots happened, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we cleaned up the tape on Thursday after we got back from the Central Michigan game. I think at this point in time, to get as many guys as healthy and as close to 100% as possible is crucial, and that is getting guys to game day as healthy as can be. I think is as crucial as anything else in terms of preparing for the next opportunity, especially a physical rivalry game like we know that this one's going to be. So gave the guys a little bit of extra rest on Friday and Saturday so that they could get refreshed and recharged. We had an extra day of preparation yesterday. Today's a normal Monday. We're back into the normal world. It was kind of funny. One of our staff members said that he was talking to a significant other. It was like, tomorrow's Monday, so it's a normal Monday for us. And she kind of laughed and was like, yeah, it's Monday for everyone, so just shifting back into that. Big day of rest and recovery for our guys today, treatment, mental preparation. And again, we're a little bit ahead with our normal down and distance plan. So as guys are preparing, they have a better handle on what's coming on normal downs as they spend that time with the tape today. And then we'll jump into our normal prep as we go forward here Tuesday, moving ahead to Saturday.
Do you anticipate getting anybody back Saturday that's been out recently, health-wise?
I always have hope that guys are going to pop up, as you go through the week. You never know how the bodies respond and things play out. So the guys that we have, we'll roll with. But hope that we can get a few guys up, especially with the extra time, a little extra rest, that we'll be in a better position, that we were a week ago.
All right, let's move things along with Jack Birdie from TV2. Some questions about the last week's game.
Yeah, Coach, just obviously you had probably had the chance to go back and watch some film. Just who are some guys on your side that stood out positively to you from Wednesday's game?
I thought Sam Allen continues to do a good job inside anchoring our offensive line. Anything that we ask him to do, he's very, very consistent with. He's one guy that really jumped out with it. Jay Sean Polk continues to do good things as well in the return game and as a wide receiver. And then AJ Musolino continues to battle for us inside. Again, we're asking him to do a lot of different things week in and week out, doing a really good job. And then, there's flashes up front where guys did good things defensively, where CJ West flashes, Zay West flashes. But again, it's that consistency that we're looking for, so it's not just a flash here or there. It's not that occasional greatness, but that consistency. And again, we do that at a really high level, we're going to be just fine.
And obviously, the run defense was a big talking point from Wednesday's game. Did you see anything jump out to you on film about just your scheme or their scheme and how you go about stopping that going forward?
I think the biggest thing is the mentality towards tackling. I think that our tackling needs to be significantly better, and we got to allow our guys to think fast, know fast, do fast so that they can confidently come up and tackle, and that we have the mindset that I want to get you to the ground more than you want to keep running. And I'm eager to see our guys, again, that fundamental skill, do that at a really high level on Saturday.
All right, well, let's move things along to James Oswald from the Kent Staters. Some questions regarding last week's game against Central.
Yeah, Coach, Dante Cephas, he had that fumble early on, but he had another 100-yard game. Can you kind of talk about him this season and his ability to, overcome an early turnover in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we talk consistently with our guys that, adversity and negative things are going to happen, right? We've seen that throughout the whole course of the year to where, you got to be able to respond when bad things happen. And we talk consistently around here. We say E plus R equals O, right? Like events are going to happen. There's an outcome that you're chasing, and how you respond is going to dictate if you get what you want and if you're trained to the level that you can respond appropriately with great discipline. We never want to have the ball on the ground like that. The ball was on the ground way too much on Wednesday night. I believe it was on the ground 5 times, and that's unacceptable. But speaking specifically about Dante, he did a good job bouncing back and capitalizing. Obviously, that big 51-yard touchdown was a big explosive play that we've become accustomed to him making. But again, like his level of consistency, he had a contested catch earlier in the game, play that he's made numerous times, and needs to go make that play because that's what we're banking on him to do, so that he's that consistent level of player for us. And I know he's capable of doing that.
You mentioned getting better in all 3 phases. Looking at your special teams, what were some things, that you guys need to work on there?
The biggest thing is flipping the field. Our cover units, we pride ourselves on having great cover units. We didn't kick the ball very well in the punt game to be able to flip the field. Part of that was because of Pimpleton, but also part of that was just bad swings on the ball that we need to be better with. And then also our kickoff cover unit, we had some good placements. We had some bad placements in terms of kicking the ball. Again, consistency with that, so that when we go down and we cover, that ball's not bleeding out for an extra 5-10 yards when we get hats to the football. But when we get hats to the ball, that there's numerous hats there, and we're stopping the ball from bleeding out any further than what it needs to.
All right, Coach, well, let's focus our attention on the big rivalry week of Zippy. Also has made a leadership change this year, and it's been a scrappy bunch. They gave Western all they could handle. So when you kind of break down the film for school down the road, what jumps out at you?
Yeah, I mean, dangerous, explosive team, that's coming together and playing their best football as of late. To go up to Kalamazoo, they had, the Broncos on the ropes, and, just couldn't quite land one more punch to finish it off. But I mean, they're right there, right? The past 2 weeks, it's a one possession game with Western Michigan. It's a one possession game with Ball State. So you're talking about the reigning MAC champs in Ball State. And then obviously we all got to experience Kalamazoo firsthand, and they fared far better up there than we did. So we know we're going to get their best effort. It's senior day, and they got everything to play for, so insert whatever coaching cliche you want here. Throw the records out. It's a rivalry game with change of leadership on both sides. Roll your sleeves up, bring your hard hat, and let's go to work.
Well, let's kick off rivalry week questions with Alan Mull from the Record Courier.
Yeah, specifically, what have they been able to do their offense was really struggling, and all of a sudden it's kind of really picked up. What have they been able to do there to get that going?
I think they've really found consistency in their quarterback position with Zach Gibson. You kind of look at what he's done since he's taken over. He's completing the ball around 72%. He's not turning it over. He's got a certain moxie about him that when you watch the games and, his personality, it seems the offense feeds off that. They have confidence because of him. And I think that's really injected life into the whole organization, that they're active and long defensively. They can get after the passer. And then they create explosive plays in the special teams game. They had a big kickoff return for a touchdown against Western Michigan. At a moment there where, Western Michigan gets a kickoff return, you think that's going to, kind of blow that thing open. Well, then they come right back and they get a kickoff return of their own, so they're being a gritty, tough group, and they're responding the right way. And they're really rallying around the interim head coach and the new quarterback that they ever since they plugged him in, you found a quarterback. Again, like we talk about here numerous times, like we're in the position because of our consistency of quarterback play. They're getting consistent quarterback play, really, really dangerous.
Personnel-wise, besides the quarterback, who jumps out at you? I know they had a couple of receivers that had big games against Western.
Yeah, I mean, dynamic skill. You got guys that are 6 feet plus, good speed that can run. They've really solidified some things up front with bigger bodies that are, protecting that quarterback to make things go. And then again, defensively, they got some Power 5 transfers from Michigan State, from Syracuse, and some interior players that are disruptive that, again, have length and can run. So, the talent level's gone up over there, and they're starting to play together as a unit, as a cohesive team. And again, they're a gritty, very scrappy bunch that's more than capable.
How big is a start to this game? If for any other reason, then obviously you've had a lot of success lately against these guys, and to be able to kind of jump on them and kind of get in their head a little bit. How big of it, important is that to the outcome of the game overall?
I mean, we pride ourselves on being able to start fast and consistently sustain that pace and finish strong throughout. So obviously nothing unique to this situation. We want to start fast. We want to execute in all 3 phases. And that's critically important to us having success regardless of who we're playing.
Any other out of the ordinary keys? I know that you say, run the ball, stop the run, all those good things. Anything else that kind of pops in your head as you look at this game in particular?
I think handling the emotions of it all, right? I think that's a big part of the rivalry game. We know that this is a different week, and we make it a big deal because it is special. It is unique. It's what college football is all about. So we're playing for our wheel. We're playing for bowl eligibility, and we're playing to stay pace, to be able to still go to Detroit. So just handling the emotions of what all that is. I know that they're going to be emotionally high as well with it being senior day. So there's going to be some extra emotions there. It's going to be a great crowd. So just handling the emotions of the day, I think, is kind of a unique outlier. When we talk about this specific game and our plan to win, aside from the things that we always talk about, but handling the emotions of this Saturday.
All right, well, let's move along to Jack Birdie from TV2. Questions about the Wagon Wheel week.
Yeah, Coach, you talked a little bit about their offensive personnel. Just who stands out to you from their team defensively?
Yeah, the middle linebacker or inside linebacker, number 9, he's the Michigan State transfer. He's a really dynamic player. Zach Morton, number 3, is one of their defensive linemen who was at Cuse actually when I was there as well. That's a long, rangy player. They got 2 corners that have really good speed, that have good ball skills, that have been disruptive as well. And then number 0 inside, their nose does a really good job. He's a scrappy kid, right around 300 pounds, plays with great leverage, really creates and generates good knockback up front. So those guys are the core of who make them go. And, they're very multiple up front. So you got to ID where they're at and how they're kind of coming at you. But those guys are the ones who really kind of stand out and jump off the tape.
you mentioned the play of Zach Gibson, their quarterback. Just how do you go about stopping a quarterback like him? Like, what do you think your defense will need to do on Saturday?
I mean, communicate, play with great fundamentals. We got to vary the looks and we got to confuse him a little bit. So that we get him seeing ghosts and he can't confidently go through his progressions with everything. If we're able to do that and we're able to win at the line of scrimmage to get them off schedule so they get a little bit more predictable and limit the mixed downs, that gives us a chance to have some success.
Last one for me, Coach. You say it all the time. It's all about the wheel. Just how important is this game to you guys, your program, and your players, and how excited are you guys to get out there and play for the wheel on Saturday?
It's everything, right? We talk about our family goals, and it's our first family football goal that we have year in and year out. We're going to graduate everyone. Obviously, we're doing that off the field. When it comes in between the white lines, we're going to retain our wheel. It still sticks with me that first year that we didn't execute the 2-point conversion. It's the only time that we haven't had the wheel. We got it back in 19. We retained it in 20. It hangs in our locker room every single day. This week, we have it out at the practice field. The guys touch it to clock in so that they know and understand the importance of it. And when the workday's done, they touch it as they leave the locker room so that the guys know the importance of it. This is not a regular week. This is the wheel. It's Wagon Wheel week. It's rivalry week. It's everything.
Let's kick things over to James Oswald from the Kent Stater.
Yeah, Coach. You guys have gotten really good in the red zone. Getting in the end zone. Akron does a pretty good job defending the red zone. Just what do you do to make sure your team continues to do a lot on there?
Again, as boring as it is, Jimmy, I mean, it's the fundamentals and it's the execution of being together and seeing the pictures for what they are. The biggest thing for this game is that they are a multiple front. They'll play some even front. They'll play some oaky front. They'll play some bear front. They slant, they angle. That's where the challenge becomes in the red zone, to where the looks get really multiple. And we got to do a great job IDing, where the proper mic is at so that we can make sure our run fits are good and that our pass protections are right, so that we're all seeing things through the same set of eyes so that we can go execute, because they do a good job varying different looks. And that's why they've been able to slow down some offenses when they get into the red in particular.
We talked about they're coming off of, 2 really close games. When you plan for a team that's on the up and up, what kind of goes into it differently than if you say you're playing another team?
Not necessarily anything different. You just know that obviously they're playing their best ball as of late, which again, I mean, this time of year, that's all that you can hope for. We go through our process, we dive into it, in terms of identifying the strengths and weaknesses of their personnel, the structure and the scheme, of everything that they're doing in all 3 phases. And then we work to match what our strengths are, against their weaknesses and on and on. So, it doesn't, when we're making decisions, when we're planning and prepping, Jimmy, I think one of the biggest things that you can do is have perspective to kind of take your emotions out of it in the preparation phase of it as you make the decisions, as you go forward with it. Because this Saturday will be a unique beast, unlike, their game against Ball State. And it's different than how they played, last week against Western Michigan. They're going to do some new things. So you got to look at it very objectively without your feelings involved, so that you can build a clean plan, so that when everything starts rolling, and again, the emotions of Saturday start going, you can lean on that calm, created plan that is going to have success regardless of what the emotions of the day are.
All right, let's wrap things up with our fine radio crew. Rob Palinski, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Coach, how much can you talk about the challenge of going up against an interim coach that you only seen him be a head coach 1 game? How much different does that make your preparation for somebody that you really don't know what his tendencies might be?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I've noticed is that obviously they're a little bit more aggressive under his leadership. I think there's a little bit more, to where, hey, cut it loose. What do we got to lose mindset with it all? And again, I think that's kind of status quo when it comes to a rivalry game. So you can expect that as is. So a little bit different there, because you don't really know from the big picture of the 30,000 foot level, kind of how they manage the game or different decisions that they're going to be making. So you have to have your plans. You got to have some contingency plans, and you have to have the tertiary plans, if you will. But again, luckily we got 10 days here to prepare and to have all those different plans in place. And then again, when we go into it, to me, we got great coordinators, we got great staff, and we got great kids that are able to, be pretty fluid and keep their knees bent and make the necessary in-game adjustments that we need to based off how the game is playing out.
And Coach, do you, when you're playing a team that if you will, doesn't have a lot to lose and with the interim coach. And obviously they're going to make a change in the offseason. You kind of tell your kids to be prepared for anything. Trick plays might come and that sort of thing. Do you have to prep differently for a team that literally has nothing to lose and going forward, they're probably going to have a huge change?
I think the biggest thing, knowing that you're going to get all kinds of different variables, is that you got to keep the main thing your main thing, right? So what's the front? Let's communicate it. We know that we're going to get something different, and away we go. But again, that's something that we've gotten from stable, well entrenched head coaches. Shoot, there was that 3-week span there, guys, where we went and played Western Michigan, we played Ohio, and we played Northern Illinois. And the things that we saw on tape, guys, leading into those games is not anything that we saw on game day. So again, our kids have been able to adjust. Conversely, on the defensive side of the ball, again, keep the main thing the main thing. What are the fundamentals? What are my read keys? What's the communication? So that regardless of what comes, we can execute those base skills at a really high level. And, I think they're going to empty the bag of tricks. Why not? Again, it's a rivalry game. You got nothing to lose. Let's go do it. And, let's play the game. Let's play with fanatical effort. Let's run to the ball. Let's strain through the echo of the whistle. If we're doing those things at a really high level, it's amazing how attitude, effort, and toughness can be a great eraser, even if you make a couple of mistakes.
Finally, you did allude to it that with a win, you could become you would become bowl eligible. How do you deal with that added pressure? Not pressure. Pressure is something you apply. It's not something that you feel, Rob. And that's been the standard and the expectation that week in, week out, year in, year out, we're going to win. We're going to win big. We're going to have sustained success. So that's a part of it. We're going to go bowling. Everyone adjust your holiday plans accordingly around it. We've leaned into that since day one. Thanks and good luck. Thanks, Rob.
And last but certainly not least, our fine color analyst, Tom Evans. Any questions for Coach Tom?
Coach, I just want to ask you, we talk about Akron maybe having some things in their bag of tricks. Do you do anything special, maybe a couple things, little gadget things to keep the kids loose and get them ready for the rivalry game?
Our kids enjoy trick plays. We ran trick plays in other games. We might run a few trick plays.
Your smile says all I need to know, Coach. Good luck.
Well, I don't play poker.
All right, Coach, any final thoughts as we wrap this baby up?
Need everyone at Info Station on noon. Go Flashes.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on Saturday.